Right now at noon, authorities in Janesville searching for a motive after 3 people were killed in a shooting. Plus, the latest in a hazmat investigation spanning several jurisdictions in Madison. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Spreiter. Right now, an investigation into a deadly shooting is underway in Janesville. Police say 3 adults are dead and 1 is seriously injured. Officers first responded to a family disturbance Tuesday at the Aspen Square apartments on the city's north side. Paramedics rushed the survivor to Mercy Hospital with life-threatening injuries. Janesville Police Chief Chad Pearson did not identify a suspect or release victims' names, citing an ongoing investigation. He assures the public there is no threat to the community. Police confirmed no children were inside the apartment during the incident. Investigators have also ruled out drug activity and political motives. Neighbors tell us they are not used to seeing such a police presence on their street.
I seen a police officer, and I didn't know it was a police officer right away till I seen him putting crime tape out. And then I'm going, oh, what's going on? That's pretty close to home, you know? Yeah, very quiet. It's never had any trouble here at all.
We are continuing to follow this developing story, and we'll update you here on the air and online at channel3000.com. The state's Department of Justice is continuing a hazmat investigation on Madison's west side. 2 suspects are now in custody related to the incident. One is Paul Dustin Van Dune. He owns the home on North Spooner Street, just a couple of blocks from Camp Randall. Van Dune now faces tentative charges for attempted first-degree homicide and stalking. He hasn't been officially charged yet, and we do not know the identity of the other suspect in custody. Investigators say this incident is connected to the hazmat investigation on West Skyline Drive from Monday. Officers say there is no threat to the public. Crews were performing emergency decontamination out of an abundance of caution. One neighbor told us he's never seen anything like this.
Eventually, I was watching with my roommate through our windows, our house here, and the decon truck came up, and they got to a point where they got everybody dressed in like essentially hazmat, more or less, and then went up to the building and executed what was a search warrant. It looked like.
This is a multi-jurisdictional investigation. The DOJ is working with Madison Police and Fire along with the Middleton Police Department. You can get the latest updates on both of these developing stories sent straight to your phone with the Channel 3000 News app. You'll receive breaking news push alerts as they happen. It is free to download. Just search Channel 3000 wherever you get your apps. We now know more lawmakers named in the hit list tied to that deadly shooting of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband. The list includes several Democratic lawmakers like Congressman Mark Pocan and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Meanwhile, at the Minnesota State Capitol, a memorial for Hortman. That's as the suspect, Vance Belter, remains in custody for the politically motivated assassination. Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden spoke out on the situation.
When people are trying to threaten you with violence to prevent you from doing your job as a legislator, that's not how this country was designed. It's not, and I don't get along with everybody. I don't. Mark and I, we can't be farther enough separated politically. He was on that list, and I condemn that wholeheartedly.
Security briefings are now underway in Congress as lawmakers demand stronger protections. Well, we have more rainfall out there today as First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano joins us with his certified most accurate forecast here in Madison. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh. Yeah, we're seeing that rain across our area right now. Not seeing a lot of thunderstorm activity at the moment, but we still are expecting some of that a little bit later in the afternoon. But looking a little bit closely at the radar, you can see some of the heavier pockets of rain kind of moving into Dane County. Nothing is expected to be too dramatic at any given point, but the rain may last for much of the afternoon and into the evening, possibly in the overnight hours as well. Now, as far as those thunderstorms, there is a small chance we could see some severe weather, especially for areas, actually mostly for areas south and east of Madison and the southeastern portion of Wisconsin in general. And as we take a look at the forecast, you could see some of those showers and thunderstorms really forming kind of just to the south and east of Madison and will likely impact that area as we get into the late afternoon and evening hours. But later in the night, we are still going to see some showers and thunderstorms as we see another round of that rainfall moving into our area from the north. And finally, once we get closer to around midnight to 3 a.m., although we still might see some rain, it's going to be a lot more broken up at that point. Now, as far as temperatures, they are noticeably cooler. Now, we aren't going to see the temperatures rise all that much throughout the rest of the day. Now, they're still comfortably in the lower 70s, but at this point yesterday, we were in the lower 80s. In fact, if anything, the temperatures may decrease throughout the afternoon, as we could see temperatures in the upper 60s by the later afternoon and evening hours. So definitely a little bit on the cooler side, but with the clouds and the rainfall, that is to be expected. And as a whole, it's not too cool at all. It's just cooler compared to yesterday. Now, overnight lows will drop into the lower 60s with some rain lingering till about 3 a.m. But once we get closer to sunrise and then Thursday morning, we will start out dry. But we still have a few more storm chances before the end of the week. And we also now have an alert day for the weekend due to the very hot temperatures that are expected. So I'll talk about just how high, not just the temperatures, but also the heat index values could get. I'll have those details a little bit later.
All right, we knew it was coming sooner than later. Thank you, Jacob. Well, the conflict between Israel and Iran is now in its 6th day as President Trump calls for Iran's unconditional surrender, something that country's supreme leader rejected in a new address to the nation. As Natalie Brand reports, it comes as the Trump administration is weighing whether to get involved.
Israel's military says it struck around 20 targets in Tehran overnight, prompting thousands to flee. In Israel, sirens blared as missiles were intercepted over the skies of the port city of Haifa.
We cannot let Iran get a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time.
President Trump took questions Wednesday morning with new flagpoles going up at the White House. Sources tell CBS News he's considering joining Israel and striking Iran's nuclear facilities, which could include Fordo, buried deep in a mountain.
I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble.
Sources tell CBS News there's not agreement among the president's closest advisors about next steps. Today, the president was also asked about his social media post calling for unconditional surrender by Iran's supreme leader.
Unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more.
In a recorded video, the Ayatollah said any military involvement by the U.S. would cause, quote, irreparable damage.
The Iranian regime has been devastated.
H.R. McMaster served as a national security advisor during the first administration.
The effects that Israel's had, I mean, of course, we've been talking about the effects on the nuclear program, on the missile program, but I think they've killed something like 15 or so, nuclear scientists and decapitated the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps.
CBS News has learned Israel did not request that the U.S. join its effort militarily, leaving that choice to President Trump. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
In his comments, President Trump said, quote, next week will be big, maybe less than a week, without giving details on what he meant by that. While the Federal Reserve Board meets today to determine interest rates, many analysts expect the board to hold rates steady. That's as the price of oil is up sharply due to the conflict between Iran and Israel. Some domestic energy infrastructure in those countries is damaged. Experts say regional export facilities are also at risk. Meanwhile, the pause on many so-called reciprocal tariffs is set to end July 9th. President Trump is back from the G7 summit with a signed UK trade agreement, but without final deals with others. Right now, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is considering 2 policies to crack down on drug ads on TV. The policies would make it more difficult and expensive for drug companies to promote their products across the airwaves. One policy would mandate advertisers elaborate on the risks posed by their drugs, forcing ads to be longer and therefore more expensive. The other would bar drug makers from writing off direct-to-consumer ads as business expenses on their taxes. Nippon Steel has finalized its deal to buy 100% of U.S. steel. That deal comes despite President Trump repeatedly saying he would allow the deal to go through only because it was an investment, not an outright purchase of the iconic steelmaker. The Nippon deal allows the president to be able to veto any decision to idle plants or reduce production or staffing levels. U.S. Steel was once the world's most valuable company and a cornerstone of American industrial might. The legislature's budget writing committee will now debate the budget for the university system on a later date. That's after the committee met yesterday to continue approving budgets for several state agencies. Lawmakers did approve the budget for Wisconsin's district attorneys, including adding prosecutor positions in Dane, Grant, and Crawford counties.
We are making significant investments in ADA positions, 42 new ADA positions. It's going to take us to 80% of the staffing that's required in the staffing study that the DAs have done. And that's going to do a lot to help fight crime and make our communities safer. And that's certainly been a top priority for both of our caucuses.
This comes as lawmakers approve budgets for various public safety state agencies, prosecutors and public defenders for one, as well as the Department of Corrections. In addition to the new positions, the committee also approved pay raises for prosecutors. Democrats say Republicans were letting some positions funded by federal dollars lapse. Coming up next on News 3 Now at noon, why TikTok can breathe another sigh of relief, plus how Amazon is looking to turn around falling retail sales as Americans pull back from shopping.
TikTokers can breathe another sigh of relief. The White House says President Donald Trump will sign an order delaying the enforcement of the bipartisan law that would effectively ban the video sharing platform in the U.S. The law requires TikTok to separate from Chinese parent company ByteDance, though so far a deal has been elusive. This is the third time that the Trump administration has granted TikTok an extension. More Americans are pulling back on shopping. The latest Commerce Department report shows that retail sales fell 0.9% last month. That's a bigger drop than expected. Vehicle sales in particular took a hit in May following a big surge in purchases earlier this year as consumers tried to get ahead of President Trump's 25% foreign auto tariffs. But Amazon is hoping to turn some of those numbers around. The e-commerce giant has announced its Prime Day date or dates spanning from July 8th through July 11th. This is Amazon's 10th year doing the Black Friday-like summer sales event on electronics, clothing, and other products. It's also the first time the event will be 4 days long. Amazon says last year was its biggest Prime Day yet, with more than 200 million items sold by independent sellers in 2 days. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the current stock numbers at the noon hour. The Dow's up 119 points, NASDAQ up 95, and the S&P 500 up 22. Right now, our call for action volunteers are in the building taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. Remember, you can call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call-for-action. The farm numbers are straight ahead on News 3 Now at noon, along with the first warn forecast. And later on Live at 4, we speak with Colin Baruchak on his big win in this week's special election for Dane County Board Supervisor of District 1. Pam Yankee is out of the radio barn for a WBA conference in La Crosse today, so here are your farm numbers. There are less than 2 weeks left to vote for Madison Magazine's Best of Madison. There are more than 150 categories on people, places, and things to do. You can only vote once each category. Voting is open until June 30th, and the winners will be announced in Madison Magazine's October edition. Well, the rain chances continue leading up to a hot weekend ahead. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano has the first warn forecast. Here comes summer.
Yeah, definitely going to be summer-like over the next couple of days. And even with the chance of rain that we've been seeing, we have seen some summer-like temperatures, not necessarily today, but the last couple of days for sure. Now look at the current radar. We continue to see some scattered showers across Dane County. More of these pop-up storms seem to be firing up right now in the far southeastern portion of Wisconsin. Got to keep an eye on those because they could produce some minor severe weather. As you can see with the severe weather outlook, marginal risk for areas southeast of Madison, but areas of, surrounding Madison and places to the northwest will definitely see plenty of rainfall for the rest of today. But then there's another chance of severe weather for tomorrow. However, the chance of rain in general is actually pretty low. It's just any given location could see an isolated storm that could produce severe weather. And then for Friday, there's another chance of severe weather, marginal risk for much of the area, but slight risk in central Wisconsin. That does include the northern portion of Juneau and Adams County. So let's take a look at the rainfall forecast the next couple of days. Going to continue to see those scattered showers and thunderstorms. Most of the thunderstorms, though, will stay to the east and southeast of Madison. But as we get towards the early overnight hours, we're still going to see some of those scattered showers and storms impact our area with some lingering showers much later in the night towards Thursday morning. But once we get to sunrise Thursday, it does look like we are going to see relatively dry conditions to start the day. And most of Thursday will be dry. But again, we could see these isolated showers and storms pop up. A lot of the area will be dry, but every part of the area will see the chance of that rain for your Thursday. But again, it's not going to be much. If it rains, it will be very brief. And then as we get towards Friday, we are going to see a little bit of a better chance of rainfalls. We'll see some scattered showers and storms move through the area. Looks like the best chance will be early with some drier conditions later in the day, but those storms could produce some severe weather. And there's also a chance of that severe weather in central Wisconsin with that slight risk. Then we get to the weekend and we're going to see some very hot temperatures. And we now have an alert day in the forecast. Simply because the heat index values are expected to be near 100 degrees. This is going to be for Saturday and Sunday. Could be for next Monday as well, but especially over the weekend, we're going to see those hot temperatures. So for reference, the heat index values on Friday are going to max out in the lower 80s, and the actual temperatures will be around here as well. But then as we get towards the weekend, obviously, as I mentioned, it's going to be a lot hotter, but even the morning heat index values are going to be in the middle 70s, and then we get to the afternoon hours, and they're going to be right around 100, could even get to around 105 in southwestern Wisconsin. And Sunday is going to be very similar. Heat index values near 100 for the afternoon and evening hours. Actual temperatures will likely hit the lower 90s for the first time this year, but notice some of the overnight lows. We're only going to drop into the middle 70s, which is warmer than what we're going to see for this afternoon, as highs only going to be in the lower 70s. So certainly summer-like temperatures over the weekend, and notice not a lot of rainfall. We're going to see plenty of sunshine, which will make it feel even warmer. Now, once the rain moves back in, roughly Tuesday of next week, we are going to see those temperatures begin cooling down, but we're still going to see summer-like temperatures. It's weird to say cooling down when they're still going to be in the 80s, but compared to the 90s, it certainly will feel cooler.
Yeah, it's going to feel good after that. All right. Thank you, Jacob. Well, happening now, you can donate blood through the Red Cross in Middleton. The Eagle Scout Project Blood Drive is happening at the Middleton City Hall from now until 4. It'll be in the City Council room. Well, up next, Howard is working in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If your family is getting together this weekend, or you're invited to a backyard barbecue, and you're supposed to bring something, I have an idea. Why not bring a go-along that will go along with everything? Plus, it's super colorful, goes together in minutes, and is quite tasty. We start by mixing a bag of pre-shredded coleslaw mix with some celery, which gives it lots of crunch. And to make sure we have the most colorful dish on the table, we add a good amount of red and yellow peppers that we've chopped. Now for the secret ingredient that gives this dish just the right amount of wow, we add a chopped jalapeno pepper. And when we toss this with our dressing, which is simply some brown sugar dissolved in bottled Italian dressing, get ready for a side dish that is going to be the star of any get-together. What makes this so good is the combo of the sweet and savory dressing, along with the kick you get from all the peppers, combined with all the crunch. To get the recipe, all you need to do is head over to our website and type in Summer's Best Slaw. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a colorful and crunchy way for you to say, "Ooh, it's so good."
And we're going to be seeing those summer-like temperatures really kick into gear once we get to the weekend. We're going to see a few chances of storms before then. For today, we'll continue to see a few rounds of those showers and thunderstorms. Most of the severe weather should stay to the southeast of Madison and the southeastern portion of Wisconsin in general. For Thursday, mostly dry, but we still could see an isolated shower or storm. And some of those storms that are going to be very isolated tomorrow have a minor chance to produce severe weather. Same with Friday, although Friday it looks a little bit more likely. Then we get to the weekend, we're expecting fairly dry conditions with a lot of sun and warm temperatures. Highs will be in the lower 90s. Heat index values near 100. Definitely take it easy for the weekend if you plan to be outside. For next week, we are going to see the rain return as those temperatures will cool down a little bit, but still be pretty summer-like with those highs in the lower 80s to upper 70s.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4. And reminder, you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.